How's it going, guys? It's Smoky Minitures here, and in this video I'm going to be painting Hunty from the Pilgrims Kickstarter campaign. Hunty is the older brother of Mimus, who I painted in the last video. Unlike his brother, he actually has a spear that he can use to defend himself, and he also has a little companion who is a slug. I'm going to start this model by removing all the supports and cleaning up all the mold lines. I glued the model together and primed it ready for paint. While I was priming, I dropped the model and broken the antennae eye thing on the slug. I fumbled around with Milliput until I had made an eye antenna shape thing and then glued it on. Once I fixed that, I moved straight on to base coating the cap of our mushroom guy with blue. Now I'm doing the same with a white base coat for the body. I'm using very diluted white because white covers like a bitch when you use it. Next I'm base coating the spots in the same blue that I used for the cap. Now I'm base coating the slug in a brown. Once I had finished with the brown, I started working on the eye. I then stopped working on his eye and started with red on the cloth around his waist. Finished with the red base coat on the cloth, I started a brown base coat on the leather belt. I painted all the bits on his belt that were going to be non-metallic metal with black. Coming back to the eye, I start glazing a brown around the edges to create a bit of a shadow. Now coming back to the cap, I start with a dark blue to show that there is a shadow on the lowest side of it. Now working on the top of the cap, I use a lighter blue to show that the light is strongest at the top of the cap. Now working on the slug, I use brown to build up a lighter and lighter colour. Now finished with the slug, I come back to the eye and continue working on it. I'm using orange because it contrasts well with blue, and then I highlight with a yellow and then an ice yellow. Here I am with black to paint the pupil of the eye and then add a white dot for a highlight. Now I'm coming back to the spots and I'm glazing a blue highlight. Now I'm moving on to the cloth and I'm using a crisscross pattern to give it the sense of fabric. I work on the belt by adding edge highlights and scratches to show that the belt is old and weathered. Now I'm going to be working on the non-metallic metal, and I'm going to start by giving it a dark brown base coat. I'm putting on brighter and brighter layers until I work my way up to ice yellow. Now that I'm done with the non-metallic metal, I paint the trim around the outside of his cloth. Finished with the main model, I start working on the spear and I first paint the stick that he's holding onto. Then moving on to the spear, I stipple and glaze on grey. Paint the leather strap on the spear the same way that I painted his leather belt. Now that I have the model finished, I can start working on the base. For the log that I'm using for him to stand on, I got this stick from outside. First thing I'm doing is supergluing the log down to the base. Using my mixture of bark and coconut fibre, I start building height on the base. Using isopropyl alcohol and diluted PVA glue, I lock everything down. Once the base is primed, I use brown as a base coat on the log. I move on to using different shades of green to cover the undergrowth. I paint the ends of the logs a lighter brown and then move on to highlighting the log. Now I'm coming back in with a lighter brown to highlight all the smaller sticks and bark. I then use PVA to stick down flocking all over the base, which I would later cover up with static grass anyway. Then using PVA again, I use my static grass applicator to apply the grass. Gluing the model onto the base and then gluing the spear to his hand, I finally called it finished.